If you've made caponata before, you will know why I'm smiling. If you haven't and you make it, you're in for a treat. Ciao, today I'm cooking caponata. This is a Sicilian vegan dish, mostly vegetables. Actually, I think it's only vegetables. And it was introduced in Sicily by the Arabs when they used to rule the island in the 9th century. And Arabs have left such a big mark in Sicily, very, very colourful. And this dish actually, I think, is very much a mosaic of Arab influence and culture. I'll start by showing you the ingredients first. I've actually added a little olive oil at the bottom of my pan, and I have chopped my eggplants. I've got 2 large eggplants in fairly large pieces. If you take a look, they're about 1 inch or in cubes. Some are smaller, some are bigger. I like to make them bigger because they will cook and they will shrink, and it's useful actually if they start big. And I mix them all together with my olive oil so that they start cooking. And I don't use an awful lot of oil for the eggplants. Lots of people tend to absolutely get them swimming in oil. Not necessary. As long as you place the lid on, they will cook in their own steam. I'll run you through the rest of the ingredients. I've got here 2 large peppers, yellow. I've got yellows in the fridge, so I'm using yellow, but red, orange doesn't really matter. And I like to cut them in a little saw just like this. I think you will see why. Once it's cooked, it will look absolutely beautiful. Then more vegetables. I got here 2 sticks of celery. Again, I've chopped them in approximately 1 centimeter pieces, a little bit smaller because they take a little bit longer to cook. You have noticed that everything is in a pair. 2 eggplants, 2 peppers, 2 sticks of celery, and also here I've got 2 large onions, 1 white, 1 red. You can go for both red or both white, individual choices. I like the color. 300 grams of plum tomatoes, which I have halved. They're ready. You can also use cherry tomatoes if you like. Fresh is best. If not, you can use the tin ones. A generous handful of fresh basil, which I've picked from the garden. And before I move on to some of the other stuff here, this is my own family edition. Every family in Sicily got different versions of caponata, and today I will be adding a whole head of garlic, but I'm not crushing it. I just leave the cloves whole, and they will release a gentle flavour. And when garlic is cooked, it's absolutely delicious. I'm going to turn this down. I don't want to burn them, now that they're hot. But you can skip the garlic if you don't like garlic, or you can add less or more, but I think 1 head is enough. Then over here I've got some olives, some capers, which will be going in at some point. Then I will be making an agrodolce, which comprises of wine white vinegar or wine vinegar, and you can also use apple vinegar or cider vinegar, some sugar, and pine nuts. Now today I've decided to stick to pine nuts because I want to replicate the authentic recipe, but they're quite expensive, and if you wanted you can actually use also sunflower seeds. I've actually used them in the past. They are also quite nice and a lot more affordable. Salt and pepper and olive oil. So let's continue. I'm keeping my temperature on a medium-low so that they don't burn, but also they need to cook and produce enough steam. And if you take a look, they're beginning to sweat, and they are perfect actually. So I'll just give them a little mix halfway through, and they take about 15 minutes to completely cook. So lid on, they'll cook in their own steam. In the meantime, I'll continue with the other ingredients. So the eggplants cook on their own so that they cook properly. In a different pot, I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil, and I'll start cooking the other ingredients. I'll turn this on. Again, I'll start relatively high to start with, and I'll place my onions first. As soon as they begin to sizzle, I'm going to add all of my garlic. I'll give everything a gentle mix, followed by my peppers. There we go. My celery, and I'll stop for a little while. I'll mix everything together, and I'll wait until everything has softened up. I'm going to turn the temperature down slightly now so that I don't burn the rest of the ingredients, and they will take about 5 minutes. But I'll place the lid on, otherwise you will not be able to hear me. In the meantime, I'll make the agrodolce. Agrodolce is a sour sweet vinaigrette, and it's very simple to make. Nothing, make sure that I've got sugar, no salt. So it's made of equal portions of sugar and vinegar. I'm going to weigh 60 grams of sugar. Oh, got a little bit too much there, so I'll remove some. 64, that will do. And also I will set this back into 0, and I'll change it to be milliliters now. And I'm going to add 60 milliliters of vinegar here. This should be a little bit easier. That'll be fine. Mix it together, and this is my agrodolce ready. I'm mixing it quite vigorously to ensure that the majority of the sugar is dissolved, but do not worry if it doesn't. It will dissolve once it goes in with the rest of the vegetables. The eggplants should be ready, and what I mean by ready, almost cooked. Here's a fork, you can see that they become translucent and they are pretty much cooked. I'm going to use this pan to finish my caponata because it's wider and it's going to be easier. Also, my other vegetables are cooked, so I'm going to move this across over here first. Everything is almost cooked, and even if they are not totally cooked, it's not a big deal because this will continue cooking. So I'll mix my eggplants now with the remaining of my vegetables to ensure that they are properly distributed across my pan, and I can start adding the remainder of my ingredients. No particular order really. Olives first. I'm going to add 5 heaped dessert spoons, approximately 200 grams in my case, but you can add less, you can add more. I would definitely add some as they are absolutely critical in caponata, but entirely up to you how many you add. Also, these are green and pitted, but you can also add a combination of black and green. I've changed my mind and I'm adding 6, so entirely up to you, very subjective. And that is what is the beauty about this dish, that you do not have to follow a prescribed recipe. If you like one ingredient more than another, just add it, and it will taste delicious regardless. These are the capers, and I'm going to add about 3, maybe 4 actually, 4 teaspoons like this, and they are salted, and I'm specifically not rinsing them because I have discovered that actually it carries a nice flavour, the salt from the capers. Pine nuts or sunflower seeds, 60 grams go in. Back to my agrodolce. I'll mix it once again. As I can see, there is a little bit of sediment of sugar, and that can go in. And I always leave the tomatoes for last. I don't know why. I think it's just because I watched my mom making so many times, and she always used to add the tomatoes last. But I'm using the agrodolce so that the agrodolce bowl so that they can rinse it. And I'm going to now mix everything together once again. I'm keeping the temperature up, and I'll mix it all together so that they get going, and the smell coming up already is unbelievable. It's just unique to this recipe, especially the vinegar, because it's just gone in, and combined with the flavour released by the olives is really nice. And of course all of the other vegetables. You'll have noticed that up until now I've not put any salt, so I'm salting everything now so that I know where I am, and also I'm going to add some pepper. And we're there. So I'll turn the temperature down on to medium to low, and I'll give it one final mix, and this is now ready to just gently cook at a low temperature for approximately 20 minutes. And during this time I will keep the lid on, and everything will cook, everything will infuse together, and then we will put the basil at the end. I'll see you in 20 minutes. I have to confess, there has never been a caponata, regardless if it was cooked by my mum, by me, by some relatives or some friends, or a restaurant, which I've not enjoyed. Although be careful with restaurants, because they tend to swim in olive oil for obvious reasons. So I would not use restaurants as a benchmark, because olive oil is healthy and is very good, but obviously everything in proportion. So I have turned it off. It's cooked, smell is good, but it's really hot, and I'm going to take advantage of the heat. So here is my basil, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to break this in as it is right now. And talking about olive oil, but not a lot, again I'm going to renew the flavour. That's enough, and I'll mix it one more time. And this time, as I often mention when I make dishes like this, the basil clearly will release some amazing flavour, but it's really hot, so I keep saying that. The lid goes on, and I'll leave it for 5 minutes so that everything is trapped inside the pot and marinates and marinates. So see you in 5. And I have been joined by my favourite camera lady, Julie. She just came in and she said that the smell hit her even before
halfway up the garden.
I'm just going to show you something. I'm not going to do it because it's really hot and it's not clever to put steaming hot caponata inside plastic bags, but clearly I've made a large batch. So what I tend to do is to freeze it, or you can, if you like, put it in vacuum using some glass pots. I've actually made a video, a Christmas caponata, where I show you how to do that. So I'll put a little post up here if you'd like to make a Christmas caponata. But for the purpose of what I do at home, I freeze it, and I'm going to eventually, once this is totally cooled down, remove enough for 2 portions, so about 3 of these ladles in each bag. Then I'll close it and I'll freeze it, and it's very useful because you can press it to the shape you want, and then it doesn't take a lot of space. So little tip for you if you wanted to freeze and defrost it. Obviously defrost it in the fridge the night before. Now this is really hot, and ideally you should wait at least 15 to 20 minutes before you tuck in. But when the smell is so good, always go 15 to 20 minutes. And of course, if you leave it in the fridge and then once it's cooled down, you eat it tomorrow and it's cold, it's got the tendency of really getting tastier and tastier, because it will marinate longer and longer. And the longer you leave it, the better it will taste. But we are making a video, so I'm going to show you the best way to eat this if you want to just stick to traditions. Piece of bread, piece of rustic bread, and I'm going to see if actually can fish some of the garlic there. I'll put that in first, like this. A little bit of my eggplants. I think we could do with having some pepper, and I'm going to scoop some of this delicious juice and put it on top, just like this. 2 cloves of garlic.
How are you going to get that in your mouth? I don't know, but we'll see. Good luck with that.
Well, where there is a will, there is a way. This is so typical, so Mediterranean. If you've made caponata before, you will know why I'm smiling. If you haven't and you make it, you're in for a treat. Enjoy if you make it. Buon appetito. Ciao ciao.